Hello and welcome to another LEGO Star Wars set review. This is set 10188 Death Star. It combines both Death Star 1 and Death Star 2 from both A New Hope and Return of the Jedi. It puts all of those scenes that you see in the movie, key scenes, and put them all together into one big set. The first Death Star set that we had was the Death Star 2, and it was more of a collector's edition, ultimate edition thing, and it was, scaled down, and it sort of looks like Death Star 2, but there's no minifigures with it. There's no scale thing inside it. It was purely a display piece. So when I saw it, it was like, oh yeah, that's alright, but I wish there was like Death Star sets and stuff. And we did have Death Star sets when LEGO Star Wars first came out. We have a little scene, the yellow skin LEGO Star Wars figures. We had the little scene of the Emperor. We had, Luke Skywalker on there, and that was pretty much it. But after a while, this set came out. This set for me is the best LEGO Star Wars set that you can get if you were only ever going to get one. These days we have all these little trooper packs. We had the Death Star unit pack, and that comes with the little Death Star cannon and the little officers, and I guess I'll compare those and the actual cannon itself, because there's an actual cannon in this set as well, which looks very similar to that. And then recently we've also had the Final Duel set with Emperor, Darth Vader and stuff, which when I first saw that I was like, yeah, this is pretty much an expansion of what we got in this set. There's a lot of key features and set pieces and little builds that look exactly like the builds that are in the Final Duel room in this set. So this is a pretty big box, and I did order this when this first came out back on Lego Shop UK. In fact, I still have the original shipping box. It's upside down, but there's the Lego logo right there, and the shipping address is right there. You got Parcel Force right there, which sucks. It's like University of Plymouth Hall's address, PL48PZ, and these label stuff on the side. The actual address you can see right there was torn off because it was a little baggy. And inside this box, this is a resealable box. You got the little flaps there, but you see this box is worn down quite a bit because it's pretty big. Inside this box you get 4 boxes like this. These are the general boxes you get with smaller Lego sets. This is the same kind of box, just no printing on it apart from the Lego logo, the number, and also you see there's a square down there. This one will have a plus, and the other one has a triangle in the corner, and finally the last one will be a circle. A little circle down there. And you can see, just like normal Lego boxes, got a little tear thing going on with that. And yeah, so this is literally like 4 big Lego sets into another bigger set. This was one of the biggest Lego sets ever made. These days we have the Sandcrawler, so that that's quite big as well. And Ewok finish is quite big, but nowhere near as big as this one. And there's the back of the box, showcasing all of the rooms as best as they can on, well, I'd say limited size, but there's quite a lot going on here, so that you can see a lot there. And it's pretty good. And on top of the box it shows you every single minifigure you get in this set, and you get a lot. So just a quick look here on what you do get. You got Luke and Stormtrooper armor. There are 2 spare Stormtrooper helmets in this set, so they can become normal Stormtroopers as well when you're playing with it. So you got Han Solo, Chewbacca, still one of the first versions. There's a little bit of print on him, but not too much, unlike the very new ones. Leia, R2-D2, C-3PO, again one of the older versions, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Luke Skywalker in his normal look, Han Solo in his normal smuggler gear. We got Luke Skywalker Jedi look from the Return of the Jedi. We got the Dianoga, the alien / monster from the trash compactor. 2 Death Star troopers, 2 Stormtroopers. I think one of the 3rd designs of Darth Vader. Grand Moff Tarkin, I think he's exclusive to this set. Emperor Palpatine, again he's changed a little bit again. 2 Imperial Guards, Interrogation Droid, Protocol Droid, a black version, black R2 unit, R205, a mouse droid which they put in there, it's part of the minifigure thing, I guess it kind of counts, and an Assassin Droid. which I'm not sure why they put an assassin droid in here, but I mean, it's nice to have. A black version will pretty much be IG-88, Shadows of the Empire and such, but there's a white version here, and they actually have a room in here which is not in the films, a little gear room, repair room, and whatnot, and he sort of in there, and you see I kind of scratched the box pretty bad right there. And finally, on this side of the box, I'm just going to pan over the last side. We have a few more key scenes from A New Hope right here. Next we have this instruction manual, which including the covers on both sides is 262 pages. It is so heavy, and inside the box, those 4 boxes go inside the big box, and this one sort of slides in on next to 2 of the boxes, and it just sort of sits there, and it sits fine. And you see it's hooked together on the side of this little metal ring system, and this manual has actually survived quite well. It's quite sturdy. I mean, obviously if I just went like that and tore it and pull it off, it will come off, because, you know, it's just paper, but it's done quite well for such a big instruction manual, and I'm quite glad. Obviously this set's not designed for most kids, but kids should be able to have no problem with this. And building was relatively easy in this set. However, this was before the era of Lego building, when they would, you know, give you little numbers on them, which box to open first or which bag to open first. So when I first built this, it took me literally like something like 20 hours or something, because I was just building it in my student room, and so when you pour out all 4 boxes of these pieces into a big pile, and you got big pieces and these tiny pieces going on, I couldn't find all of them. And there's also the issue of, because it's such a big set, and sometimes the instruction manual they say put this grey piece there, but then it kind of looks like it's a grey piece or a dark grey piece, and then I'll run out of the piece, I can't find it for ages, and turns out I just put the wrong color piece in the first place. So that took ages. The good side of this is that a lot of these pieces can be taken apart, and it will save you a lot of time in building it. And what do I mean by that? For example, every single floor piece you see here can be taken off quite easily, so you have at least all the floorboards, you don't have to rebuild again. These extra pieces you get in there, for example, the trash compactor doors, that's something you can just take out. The tables, the chairs, the cannons, this whole assembly there. And most of the walls can be taken out without rebuild. Not all of them though. So this set isn't too bad for rebuilding and putting in storage and all that. And I'm just gonna go on to the last page for you guys, because this is a pretty big page, and even though it's such one of the biggest sets, well, it was the biggest set at one point, and now it's not anymore because we got Legos going insane and keep releasing these bigger and bigger sets. Even though there's a lot of pieces are the same pieces, so they have managed to fit all the pieces, all different kinds of pieces, on 2 pages. Just so you know, both the front and back pages are indeed made out of hard cardboard. And right on the last page you get most of the details you get on the back of the box as well. Inside this large page is one of those survey things and questionnaire things that you can send back to Lego, but why would you want to cut out part of this instruction manual, especially when the back is printed very nicely, and of course for such an expensive set, you know it's a collectible, including the instructions and the box and everything. So you'd be an idiot if you back then you went and cut that out. Lego should have actually inserted an extra survey if they really wanted people to submit questionnaires and stuff back to them, mail it back to them, instead of just, you know, making people cut out parts of the instructions, especially for a size set this big. Because the size of this thing is pretty big, for those of you who are only interested in seeing the minifigures and the reviews of those, I will put a little hyperlink thing in the description below. Just click on the little time code and that should jump you forward to the minifigure review part, and I'll see if I can do other links as well, maybe just the conclusion of the video and whatever. Put little numbers on there. So yeah, that aside, let's take a look at this thing. There are a lot of rooms on this, so I'm going to talk about each room individually and if it's, you know, if it's done well or not. and if it's fun or not, etc, etc. So the first room, we're gonna go start from the bottom up and see how that goes. For the most part, the bottom, this is the main area you're gonna see. Aside from that, the rest of it is just a blank area, just looks like a little service area, which makes sense since it's at the bottom. All four sides will have the hole there for the elevator entrance, so depending on where you're looking at it, from all four angles, all the angles, you will see elevator entrances. And the elevator inside is just a flat panel, flat piece, so you know, it's fine. One side here, you got these two little red barrels there. So you can have maybe some rebels walking around there like, we've sneaked into the Death Star and we've been killed and stuff. And you know, got some random circle pieces there that again, it's just tools and equipment I put down here. So you got those going on. But the main area for the bottom that they've used is this scene in A New Hope when Leia kisses Luke for luck and then they swing across. So I'm just gonna, for easy access, you can take this piece off. This railing, which if they put it there to make the whole thing look more like a ball, to give it a whole sort of finalized look, which is fine. But if they didn't have that in the first place, I won't be too bothered. But it's nice that it's there. So you can take that off, and you can see this a lot easier. You've got a clear elevator view there for posing figures who are going up the elevator. Obviously, this looks very different from the actual scene in the movie where they actually swing across. Because if you remember the movie, it's just a long canyon that just sort of goes across. So not really sure what's going on there, but that's what it's like in the film, sci-fi and stuff and whatever. But so you got this here, and on here you do still get four entrances, just like in the movie. You quite easily. They would swing across here, and they would see some stormtroopers shooting them from up here. They stand there like, oh look, the stormtroopers. And this side, it's just another entrance there, which kind of makes sense. So that's cool. So while this area looks very different from what it appears in the movie, they've incorporated it quite cleverly into the set, and you can still do a lot with it, and it should be quite a lot of fun. You can put some stormtroopers there and have them swing across. You've got this little swing there. I'll just put this there, so it's not dangling all the time. You have Luke and Leia standing there. Fun thing, I read the comic book adaptation, and that kiss is far more romantic, because in the movie it's just like, kiss, oh, for luck. But in the comic book it's like, kiss for luck, and then it's like one pan of them kissing. It's like, ew, brothers and sisters. I mean, they didn't know that, but still, ew. Now here's the funny thing. So this room is pretty good, pretty fun, and while not completely accurate, they've done what they can do with such a limited space. They've incorporated the elevator shaft, Chewie and Luke and Han standing there with handcuffs on Chewie, and you can swing across for the swinging across thing. So that's pretty good. They do have these two dome things coming down on the top here, which does look like something from that scene. So kudos there. Just like tiny little extra bits of detail. So after Luke and Leia swings across, instead of a corridor, we've got the little energy generator, tractor beam energy power generator, whatever you want to call it, that Obi-Wan messes around with. Now this panel again on its own is pretty cool. Obviously, again, this is very different from the actual scene in the movie. If you remember the movie, Obi-Wan's standing there, and there's actually a corridor going across, going across this way, for other stormtroopers standing around there, so you cannot do that scene at all. So what you have instead is just this round place area. This thing is secured by two long Lego bars that go across, and while it does a decent job securing it and not falling apart, it still, you see, it's quite wobbly, and these pieces on the side, there's nothing securing those, so these could probably snap off quite easily. So not the most, this is kind of fragile, but I've seen what they've done here in terms of keeping this as small as possible. They have managed to do a decent job here. If you pull this out, this generator thing will come down. Obviously, again, it looks a bit weird because you pull this thing out and it's like, whoa, he didn't do that, he just flipped the switch. But it's again something that you can do, and do not be worried that this thing will fall out and just go missing, because it can't come out of the top, and when it gets to the bottom it's still too long to fall out completely. Right, so yeah, again, and on the back there you can get, I guess you can have some troopers standing on that panel back there. and they'll be like, do we hear something? So you can sort of still represent scenes from the movie, just not accurately. So there we are. Again, pretty decent. Underneath there you can see this little red stud there. What this does is opens the door to the trash compactor, which is the next scene across. Now, the trash compactor is probably one of the more accurate scenes in this set. As you can see here, it does look like the trash compactor. Now, the way it works is there's a little handle at the top right here, a little bar, and it's connected. It's all connected with Technic pieces. Just push that in. There's a little soft rubbery piece there, so it makes it kind of spring-loaded so that you don't break anything. But you can see here, it actually closes up. It doesn't just close like this. It's actually like a doorway to close up, but for what the space you have and the things you can do, that's okay. But from the outside, it still looks like it's squeezing in on them, so that's fine. It does, in the instruction manual, does give you a few extra pieces to make certain trash pieces and pieces that they can actually hold up. Again, so that's kind of cool. Obviously, you have the monster there, and you see I've opened the door there, and the door leads them to the elevator. Which again, for the space that they have, that's a pretty good way to do it. Now, opening the door here will mean that the door goes into the tractor beam generator area that we just saw, which will make it slightly inaccurate on that side, but hey, you're most likely going to be playing or messing around with one scene at a time anyway, so I think that's okay, unless you always want to have the door open for some reason. That might get in the way just a little bit. But again, this is a decent place, and because right up there is a hole inside there, and that hole connects to the prison cell, so you can recreate that scene of them jumping from the prison cell into the vent into the trash compactor. So that's good that they've kept that feature from the movies. Next we have the Death Star turret that those Death Star soldiers can sit on. So it will take quite a fair bit. There's quite a bit of space there. If you close the trash compactor doors, you have just a tiny bit more space for figures here to walk around. Just to compare this to the Death Star turret pack that we got later, Death Star battle pack, you can see that the other gun looks kind of similar in some aspects, but it's a lot smaller and it doesn't have nearly as much functionality. The smaller one does have a little flicking cannon thing. This one actually has a spring-loaded shooter. This one is a one-seater, whereas this one's a two-seater. So obviously this one looks far more accurate to the actual movie in terms of scale, to the minifigure. The Battle Pack one is it's like a downsized version. Well, that one does look nice and it's good as a downsized version that you want just a little display piece on the corner. This one looks a lot better. And another good thing about this is actually attached to a circle black plate here, which means if you wanted to, you can easily just take this off as an entire piece. That's good for repacking Death Star back into the box and you don't have to rebuild everything. And then it's also good for just removing it, so you have just a little empty room, I guess, for you to mess around with the figures. The next room we have here on this floor is just a general sort of maintenance area. You can see there's a little pulley system there, which I guess is my fault. I built it too tight. The rope that is attached to this platform is a bit tight, so sometimes it will get a little bit stuck and doesn't come all the way down. You're just going to push it down, so that's kind of annoying, but going up has no issue. What this platform does is anything you put there will go up into the hangar area, just like in the movie The Death Star. In the hangar area there are all these little elevator platform shafts. Well, here's a smaller version of it. You can probably stand like up to, if you really squeeze it, you can probably fit 3 stormtroopers there, but mostly you just put 2 stormtroopers there, and then you spin this and it will go all the way up, And yeah, I think I've inserted the string in the wrong sort of hole in the Lego, so it's not moving too smoothly. Anyway, so you can see the gears are sort of attached there inside the wall, which is okay. Got this whole bar there, which holds it in place, but this bar is just slightly shorter than the length that we have here, than the height of this sort of area. So you can actually push it up and down just a little bit. It doesn't fall out, it's not sure enough to fall out, but it does make it easier to sort of snap some of the pieces. It's okay if you don't pull on it. Elevator hole right there, you can see Luke and Leia would be jumping from these holes, so it's just again a little bit more connection there. I actually put a ladder on each one, so you know they can have like characters climbing onto them. So even though these rooms aren't really connected to each other in terms of the movie, or they didn't exist in the movie, but they're not technically connected to each other, from each side of the wall they've incorporated little bits to make it look like they fit in, so it doesn't look odd that why are there two holes in this wall. Oh, actually they put a little ladder there, so it makes it look like it's a maintenance shaft. So on this side it looks like a maintenance shaft, on the other side it looks like the scene from the movie. So I think that's pretty good. Hidden behind the cannon there, you can see just in the corner a little gun rack for the stormtroopers, just hiding there in the corner right there. So in the middle right here you got some barrels there, you got this little crane machine, has these robot arms. This one come all the way up, and there's actually a little control stick and a little seat there for Death Star officers and troopers to use. So you can load all the things on here. You can load a little trolley on the platform and load it up with this machine. And now we move up a floor here. We have the hangar bay, obviously a very miniatured version of it. We sort of have a Darth Vader's TIE Fighter. Again, it's a lot smaller than the actual Lego sets with TIE Fighters, but it kind of looks the part. It does open up to reveal a single seat area, so you can sit Darth Vader in there. But when you close this up, while this piece is a transparent piece, it's actually attached to a grey piece underneath, so that you can't actually see inside, so there's no actual transparent pieces there. And this is just hanging down a little hangar bay. If you have the mini scale Millennium Falcon, you can definitely sit that there, but any normal Lego size ships will not fit in this hangar bay. Even though that's the case, what they've done here is they've miniatured the whole scene from the movie. You can see while these boxes are standard size, you can see that these plates there, the little print, are way smaller than what they are. Everything has been scaled down on the surface. The elevator shaft, the doorway, and the boxes, those aren't scaled down, but everything else, the entire floor area, is scaled down. So I guess if you have one of those micro Lego figures, if they release any Star Wars micro figures, maybe the Darth Vader figure or Luke figure from the Lego Star Wars board game, they would fit in there, and that will make the scale correct, aside from the doors, because the door is not correct. And of course here you've got a little window panel. That's for the Emperor's throne room. That's the back of it. From this side it looks okay. From this side it's like, you're looking down, someone's looking down into the hangar bay, so it looks okay. It is a little jarring, but it's not the worst, and they had to put that there for the other room, of course. So other features, of course, apart from the elevator shaft, you have this doorway there, which can open very smoothly. But if you want to simulate the Star Wars movie where it opens slowly to review Obi-Wan and Darth Vader fighting, on this side of the wall there is a little switch there that you can just turn, a little gear switch. That's not working. Inside the hangar bay there's also this little cargo thing that they use to push around and transport a few pieces of gear. The wheels spin just fine, and the stormtroopers can hold onto the handlebars. Open it up, you got a little blaster in there, and just a generic sort of gauge piece. I guess that's just random equipment that they have to, I don't know, measure something. They'll just drag this along into the Falcon and like, hey, give us a hand. Oops. I just had a loose piece, so now I can do this and then close the door, and it should run relatively smoothly. So that's that for this room. This room is pretty good. It manages to scale down and that keeps some of it looking accurate. Again, mini kit Millennium Falcon should fit there nicely. And you see up there, there's actually a little window, and that window makes sense because on this side, ignoring this giant Death Star laser for a second, you can see that there's a ladder here, and what we see here is actually a segment of the scene in A New Hope, that little control room area where R2-D2 and C-3PO are waiting for them, and they discuss, oh, we must save the princess, where is she from? And they've actually incorporated this switch, door switch. They've actually made it look like the port where R2-D2 plugs in to the Death Star, so that's kind of cool they've done that. And even though it's such a small space, they've still managed to represent that control room quite accurately. All the little pieces there does look quite neat. Obviously you can't fit all of the characters in there because it's far too small, But I see what they've done there. Like, they have to put this giant Death Star cannon there, and they said we have a little bit of space left. What are we gonna do? Well, we're gonna make a little area that kind of looks like that control room office, and I think they've done a good job there. So we'll probably never have a Lego set that's just that control room, but for what we got here, it does look decent. I do wish, personally, I actually don't care for this cannon too much. It could be not there as far as I'm concerned. Maybe we can actually have an extra Death Star corridor or something. I much more prefer that. But I know why they put that there, because it's not the Death Star without the laser cannon for most people. For me, I like this set as a room, like a play set, so I don't care for it that much, but I know why they put this in, I understand. And for what it's worth, I mean, this cannon does look okay. You know, it does look the part. It's very fragile though. All these pieces are connected by very few studs, so it can fall apart quite easily. Move around okay, but the whole thing just feels a bit fragile. One knock and it might smash and fall apart, and you lose some of these transparent green pieces. So personally, I much rather have an empty room there for something else. So maybe we could have had a bigger control room there, who knows, but this is what we've got, and it's okay. I just prefer something else. And on the back of this cannon room, there are little control panels there for other Death Star troopers to stand there and do their work. There's a few barrels there, so you can sort of pretend that this is another control room, one of the many control rooms we've seen in cutaway shots in both A New Hope and Return of the Jedi. And next we move on, those are spare pieces by the way. Next we move on to, of course, the prison scene. So the prison scene is another really accurate set piece, what we got in such a small space. On the end of the corridor you can see there's the little sticker there, and it actually fits a sort of triangle panel on the floor to give it the sort of photographic illusion that it's actually a really long corridor, but it's not. Of course it's not. So they put the stickers there and little illusions that it gets smaller and smaller and smaller because it's fit away, whereas it's just a sticker, it's just a flat piece. On the top there we got a little security camera, just like it does, you know, one of the many things that Chewbacca shoots and blows up. We got those, we got the little control panels there. Some of these do have stickers on them. Two of them have stickers on them, little Death Star control panels. I just have to move them back a little bit, there you go, see that, oops. So we got two of those, the other ones are sort of just generic Lego panels. So I'll just turn it over and see little generic ones. Got two switches on the wall here that kind of hidden because they're black. This actually opens the prison door, which you probably won't be able to see. See it right there. Prison door. And this one opens the hatch that makes the allows them to fall into the trash compactor. Just put a light there, you can see, look, we've got a little hole there. Minifigures would drop in easily. Now if you have the trash compactor closed after it's squashed, they will just sort of hit the roof of the walls and won't really fall in, or they might fall out into the Obi-Wan generator area. So, you know, before you drop figures in there, be sure to shut that, you know, open the trash compactor doors. On the end here we have a little panel there, we just remove that so you can see the inside of the prison. So just to open that door again with that switch so you can see better. So, you know, Leia would be lying down here, she'd be like just lying down trying to be sexy and all that, and be like, oh my god, look, the princess is there, like, oh. So, you know, she's doing that. So, you know, this door just goes back in there. Now, this room is pretty accurate, but I do question, like, this whole space in there is kind of wasted. Like, I guess you can just put some figures in there, it's like assassin characters and whatnot, but there's not much going on, it's just an empty space. So I wonder if someone could have put something there, or, you know, changed this, make me have this panel come down a little bit, maybe have something else, I don't know. It just seems like there's a huge space going on there with no purpose. Next we have the Return of the Jedi final duel. Again, because Emperor Palpatine does need something to see out of, this looks out into the hangar bay. A few features here now. Obviously this is not quite accurate because the elevator is in the wrong place. The elevator should be on this side, for example. All locations are switched. However, recently LEGO has released the Final Duel playset, which as you can see, a lot of the builds and pieces in that set aren't just taken from here. That place has I think it's pretty cool. I would have gotten it if I didn't have this Death Star. That set reminds me a lot of Emperor Palpatine's arrest from Episode 3. They're both very long and stretched out sets, long corridors with not much going on the side. So if you buy those sets, you really have to make your own background to put with the set. It's just maybe print out some grey pieces or have some grey paper, just put in the background to make it better. Anyway, we've got it here. So features that are similar to that set as well. I mean, you got these 2 holes there. These fall right back down into the swinging area. So there's definitely a long drop here, which is cool. And when you film this in certain angles, it does look like a long drop, so that's good. These things can move aside if you really want them to. Luke and Vader can fight underneath there. There's enough space for them to walk around. You just get to get your fingers in there. You got these railings, which you can take them out just to have more space. And you got these nice little computer panel things. I'm not really sure what they are, but they're there. I'm not sure what they are in the movie. Putting Imperial guards in the elevator corner, just like they stand in the movie, is actually really annoying because that space is just a bit annoying to stick them in there. But you just need to spend more time doing that. Because the main feature there in this set is you can do that. And Luke will fall down and he's like, "Oh, Vader, how dare you, I'm your son." So you can do that. This, again, is very similar to what they've done in the bigger set that they've released. In fact, most of the build is just the same. They just repositioned them in different areas. So you can push this back here, just stick it down on one of the studs, and it shouldn't move around too much. You see it's not falling down, but you just push this up and like bing, and it'll fall down. And if Luke is unlucky, he'll fall into that hole and die, and the Emperor will succeed. On the top there you see the switch, but we won't talk about that right now. Actually, where we can. It just controls these 2 Death Star cannons. And this goes up and down, up and down. So these 2 just sort of control it. We'll take more look at them later. So that's this floor. So back to this. So we've reached the top floor. There's not much to look at here on this room. This is just 2 cannons. Control the switch down there, and these have individual switches to make them go down and fire. Now, don't know if you'll be able to see it, but I'm just going to turn this just enough. You should be able to see right there. For some reason, just down there in this hole, you can see a little gap. It's almost like a miniature doorway, like a mini scale, like a micro figure would be able to walk through it. I'm not sure what's going on there. Like, do characters walk out of there? Is that a little hole for a droid to go through and maintain these things? Because on the other side of this is the sort of I guess it's like a maintenance gear repair room. On the box, this is usually where the assassin droid from this set is working. And you see there's some Stormtrooper helmets there that you can place there. Like, if you want your Luke and Han to be dressed as Stormtroopers without the helmets, this is what you do. But if you want to convert them into just standard Stormtrooper figures, then you've got, this little area to put them. There's a little tray there to put things, and there's a little sort of seat there that can go up. So I guess, like a droid or a person can be sitting there getting interrogated or anything. You've got some gear, some equipment just there on the little bench. And on the back there you got a little table with a little, I guess you can say a microscope, just looking down like a magnifying glass. And on one end here you have the elevator sort of control pulley system, so you just turn that, or turn it the other way around for the elevator to come up, and you see the elevator is just sort of hanging in there. It's just a thick piece of platform that you just build, so not too much going on there. Next we have these 2 panels there. This one controls the Death Star cannon to go up and down. We've got this little pulley system. This spins the actual Death Star cannon, and this one rotates as well. So even though there are 2 sort of control panels here, only one of them can stand a Death Star guard, because the other ones, there's no room there. You can just remove this, and but then the Death Star cannon will drop down. On the side here you have the, zoom in here, you have the Alderaan system there on the sticker sheet, and this thing can come down for ease of access. This bar comes out, and On one side you have Alderaan, on the other side you have the Death Star countdown. So, you know, you slide this in here, and slide that back in there, and it's like, Death Star is counting down. I guess the whole point is that you can sort of move it a little bit, or not. So that's that. Next we have the famous meeting room with this, you know, I find your lack of faith disturbing. And he's like, Darth Vader, don't strangle him. But well, even though we have Tarkin and Darth Vader, we don't have that guy that he's strangling, so no one to strangle. I guess you can put Jar Jar Binks there and that'd be funsies. This desktop comes off quite easily. You can put a few things in there. I mean, it's not a gimmick or anything, it's not supposed to. Like, it's just by design, this thing comes off quite easily, and all these seats rotate. So yeah. First we have the A New Hope Luke Skywalker here. And he has flesh toned skin and hands and all that, but the print is still the same as the yellow skin Luke. Just, you know, instead of yellow skin plastic, he's got, you know, tan colored. You can see he's got leg printing there with his robe going down, and a nice sharp belt print. The design is very simple, no back head print from any of these because, you know, it's back then. But simple design, but quite effective, I think. They've even printed little bits of folds on the legs. No back prints whatsoever, which is kind of not used to that now that all these new Lego figures have that going on. Nevertheless, you look at him and you definitely see Luke there. Actually, I prefer some of the animated series Lego figures from like the Clone Wars to their, you know, non-Clone Wars counterpart, just because there seems to be a bit more detail going on. Next we have Luke Skywalker in Stormtrooper gear. Not too much to say about this, except it's Luke in Stormtrooper gear. Like I said, there are 2 extra helmets on the sort of Assassin Droid's room, so you can use that, put it on this head, and you can have 4 Stormtroopers, including the Han in Storm uniform. Now, what would have been cool is that if this was like had like dirty legs and stuff, like after they've been in the trash compactor, that would have made this figure unique. But instead we've just got another generic Stormtrooper, so nothing too special about him. Next we have Return of the Jedi Luke. He's got the black hand there, the glove and robot hand. Green lightsaber, the chrome handlebars. These are still back then when they did that, meaning that eventually the handle will fade away, because if you keep popping it off and on onto the hand of a minifigure. So I'm trying not to do that too much. This lightsaber pretty much stays attached to his arm at all times. Again, the body is the same body print, and the head is also the same head print as the original yellow skin version, except it's printed on, you know, flesh skin. Next we have Han Solo. Now, without the body, the head is just unrecognizable as Harrison Ford at all. With the Luke head, Luke's meant to be sort of like the generic young boy hero, and the face kind of looks like him, but this face is far too generic. I like that with the Indiana Jones set. It's got the same face, just with an extra beard printed on it to make the 2 characters look the same or similar, because they're played by the same actor. But yeah, this expression, this head, just doesn't remind me of Han Solo at all. So the body is great. The body is instantly recognizable as a Han Solo body, but just the head just really annoys me. Little details on the belt and leg are also very nice. And then we have Han Solo in Stormtrooper uniform. Again, nothing too much to say here. It's just the Han Solo head and hair on a standard Stormtrooper look. Again, to really illustrate my point before, I would have preferred if it had like dirty legs and stuff to, you know, look like they came from the trash compactor. Next we have Leia in a wacky hair. You can see the belt is not printed on the hip, but actually printed on her torso, and it's a very shiny silver. The rest of the body is pretty standard, just random little folds here and there, nothing too special, no back print of course on any of these. Kind of boring print, to be honest. I mean, it looks like her, so that's fine. I guess these days she would have come with a little extra cloth piece down there to just make it slightly more authentic, you know, so like how Lisa and Marge from the Simpsons set have a little cloth piece as well. The head again doesn't look like her at all. It's the same head, same print from the yellow skin era as well, but you know, it just doesn't look like Leia at all. It's just a very standard female face. Next we have Obi-Wan Kenobi, old Ben Kenobi. Apparently him and Han Solo in slightly newer versions, later releases of this Death Star, their faces are slightly altered to have pupils printed on their eyes. So yeah, they're meant to look a bit different. Anyway, there he is. The face again is not... looks okay. Does remind me of Obi-Wan just a little bit, but again, like, you could have called that Santa Claus head. I would have believed you. So that's an issue a lot of earlier Star Wars sets suffer. Earlier minifigures, they just don't quite look the part. I mean, they're kind of more generic than what they are today. So I like the ones today a lot more because they look more like the actual actors and characters. When you see here, the body print's still very nice. You've got a tiny bit of gold there on the buckle, so that's a nice little attention to detail that I really enjoy. And then we have the Dark Lord of the Sith, Darth Vader. His head print is pretty much the same since the beginning of time. This one's slightly altered, a little bit more detailed than the previous versions, but Darth Vader never came with yellow heads. Even the original version was sort of grey skin colour because, you know, it's meant to be slightly deformed and scarred. So that's what they did there. The torso is very nice, very metallic silver, lots of silver going on there. Love it. Lots of details. It's probably the most detailed figure from this set in terms of just the torso print. I think it's excellent. The helmet's really nice as well, not too big, not too small. Feels, you know, pretty good in scale. It's not like some of the Marvel and DC superhero stuff where the helmet piece seems a bit big at first and sort of get used to it and it's okay, but I think the Darth Vader helmet really captured the style and look of it while keeping it a very small size. So I give kudos to the original people that designed the original Darth Vader helmet. Then we have Chewbacca, no eyes painted on him, very old style figure, but however there's a little bit of paint in his black nose and also little silver bits on his sort of ammo pouches. The body is just a plain brown body, and the only detail is molded into this piece of plastic, just pretty much like all the older special styled minifigures, including, you know, C-3PO, Ewoks, and some of the Harry Potter sort of creatures. Of course, you can't move the head, so that's really annoying. He comes with the Wookiee bowcaster, which he never used in the he used it in Empire Strikes Back, but not in The New Hope. So, but they've given him it anyway, just because that's his thing. So that's good. They've given him. Next, we have R2-D2. Very nice print on the front right there, as well as, you know, the whole dome print. However, you see on the side here, the print gets a little bit wonky, goes up and down just a little bit, so that's kind of annoying. But the rest of them actually looks pretty decent. It's printed all the way. This top piece is completely printed, and I think that some of the newer ones will have back print, but this was back then, so I didn't have that. But the front print is already nice enough. You see the little linings are very sharp, and metallic coloring is also really good, so all in all, a decent droid. You know, I guess these days R2 would have come with a little micro figure, a transparent blue one of Leia. And next we have here C-3PO, a very old version of him. No color prints whatsoever on his body, just a simple black styling. Some of the newer ones actually have a little print down there on his stomach area to showcase all the little wirings and stuff he has. Here it's nothing, it's just a simple black gradient, black lining, and there's absolutely no print on the head whatsoever. However, the head is molded very nicely, and if you were to, you know, paint it yourself, you can do that and add the details. Till today, the C-3PO head is still pretty much identical to when it was first released, so that's good. The metallic gold in the plastic is just infused into it. There's been chrome C-3POs. There's a new The Force Awakens chrome C-3PO coming out as a promotional polybag, so it should be quite easy to get if you want a chrome one. Unfortunately with that one, I think one of the arms is a crimson red one because he's supposed to look slightly different again in a new movie. So if you want a fully chrome C-3PO, sorry, those are very pricey right now. But anyway, that's what he is, and he's got that right here with the gold, so that's good enough. And the good thing about not being a chrome minifigure means that his stuff isn't going to scratch off that easily. You know, all the chrome ones, the paint actually comes off very easily, so you got to be really careful of those. This one, not so much. You can scratch it all you want. I mean, you don't want to scratch it, but you can, and it'll still look gold. And then we have the Sith Master himself, Darth Sidious, or maybe Darth Syphilis. In terms of face, he's probably the most accurate one in the entire set, just because no one else has a really ugly face like him. His face print is a little bit different, I think, from the original version of him. It's a bit more color. He's got the yellow eyes going on. The torso print's also quite different. Got the metallic coloring going on there. The newer version from the new Death Star set does look amazing, but for the time, this one looks good as well. This one doesn't have any leg prints or anything unlike the new one, but his head is really good. I really like this head. This head looks scary, creepy, and ugly, as it should be. And apart from these two lightning bits, he also has a black walking stick thing that he uses in the movie. So, but you know, that's been put away because he can't hold it. And then we have Grand Moff Tarkin here, who actually looks quite like Peter Cushing because they printed his sort of shallow jawline on the face. The actual face itself looks okay, looks decent enough, but with this extra line, this jawline, this sort of very thin face look appears on this round Lego head, and that's really good. Like that was the detail that they needed to make this definitely Peter Cushing. Like you can definitely swap this head and stick it on a different body, and you have Van Helsing or something. That'd be great. With all those Monster Hunter stuff, you can just have him like, oh, I'm Van Helsing. So that's cool. He's got a really good head. The body is also very nice. I don't know if these numbers and these color badges are correct or not. Hardcore Star Wars fans will be like counting this right now. But yeah, it's a very good looking minifigure. And recently they've had quite a few other sort of Admirals and stuff being released in polybags. So that's kind of cool. This is one of the first ones that they did. Then we have this assassin droid. Till today, a lot of the sort of humanoid-sized robots are still made out of pretty much just the standard battle droid body. Nothing too special to say here. I mean, the head does remind me of the assassin droids because it's the right shape. So kudos to that. Now, obviously, these days, but we should just print a little bit of details on some of these pieces to make it look better. I think the IG-88 sort of Lego figure looks a lot cooler than this one. But this is like a simplified version of the assassin droid, and it looks decent enough. It definitely looks like the assassin droid, but it does leave a little extra something to be desired for. We have here the R2Q5. Very nice droid, like the black version of R2D2. It looks pretty cool, but unfortunately, just again on the dome, the grey print there is slightly smudged. It's not quite straight and lined on correctly, but the body print is just amazing. It's got all the details of R2D2, but just in a different color. That's very refreshing to see. Like, I like the look of R2D2, but sometimes you just want to have an alternative that you don't see all the time, and when you see it, it's like, oh my god, this is amazing. Just like the Iron Man armor, I like the black and gold suit more than just the standard red one. The red one looks cool, but we see that all the time. So it's nice to see something very different, and yet still based on the same design. I really like this color scheme. In fact, you know, they could release a whole rainbow colors of R2 units. I would like it. And you know, they've released quite a few different colors of I mean, they've released a few different colored versions of protocol droids. You know, different versions of C-3PO. That's the silver one, of course. That's the gold one, the normal one. We have the red one. It's in the polybag. I think there was a blue one in one of the sort of Hoth sets or Cloud City sets. So there's been quite a few colored ones of those, so it's nice to get more colors of these. That'd be great. And then we have two stormtroopers here. They've the white plastic sort of yellowed a bit. I don't put them underneath sunlight or anything, but you know, sometimes it happens. This version of the stormtrooper has a black head underneath. There has been versions with a flesh colored head underneath, no print, just a blank head, but I think the black one works better just because you don't really care what a stormtrooper looks like underneath the helmet, and the black sort of completes the look of the helmet. If that's a flesh colored one, like this one right here, you see a little gap underneath the helmet, and that won't look quite natural. The black one looks a bit better. The flesh one was from a magnet set, I think, when they didn't used to glue them down to the magnet. So yeah, again, nothing too special to say here because this is just the same body we've seen twice already, but of course some of these Stormtrooper helmets are cool. It's slightly better printed than when they first came out with the yellow skin version of Lego Star Wars, but overall the torso design is pretty much the same as it's always been. We have two Imperial Royal Guards here. Now the new versions are still very similar. New version has a crimson red arms instead of just the normal red we have here. And they also have an actual built spear. I've already reviewed those figures, so you know, you can check out my other videos for the newer versions, and they get kind of cool. They come in a little battle pack, a little Death Star battle pack so you can get them quite easily, and they look pretty neat. I really like the new color on the new arms and the new Imperial Royal Guards, but these ones were good for its time. It's just the new ones definitely look better. These don't look bad. I mean, they still have the helmet there, which is the new ones pretty much have the same shape and same body print. It's just that for some reason, just by changing the color of the arms, it looks so much better. And of course we also have those black suit ones, which look so cool, which I've also reviewed on my channel, so you can check those out, the black Imperial Warrior Guards, again from one of the battle packs, so you can get them very easily. And then since they kind of count this as a minifigure on the box, you have a mouse droid. It looks like the mouse droid. Kudos! It's very simple, it's just a few pieces just piled together and just be like you have the medical droid that, you know, sort of stabs Leia with a syringe. Here it's just a screwdriver. Later on there are modes of syringes with nurse figures and all that, so that's cool. So I guess these days they would probably swap that for that, so and not just use this generic sort of black screwdriver thingy, which is definitely not a needle, and you can sort of trim it yourself, I guess. But again, just like the mouse droid, as simple as they both are, they look quite accurate to what they're supposed to be. They definitely look, this definitely looks like that droid. If you've seen the movie, you'd be like, yeah, that's it. These days though, they might do that little, like, they might print a little earth ball, because there's a little ball piece that Lego has now, and just have the upper part and the lower part, and then there you go, you have the actual printed piece. So they might do that these days, but for a little build thing, this is pretty cool. Next we have here is what they just call the Death Star droid. It is a black version of C-3PO right here. Yeah, pretty much just a reverse colored print and gradient on the both the torso, front and back, and the head of course is not printed, so but pretty much identical figure, just again, just like the R2 black version. I just think it's cool to see different variations of something that we've seen all the time, and while I do like C-3PO, the look of him, and this black one always just sort of shines to me just because it's a bit different. Almost at the end we have two Death Star Troopers. The new versions look so much better by actually having an accurate helmet. These guys do not, they just have a bucket on them, which is the same bucket helmet as the AT-AT pilot or AT-ST pilots. So yeah, sort of a misfire there. I mean, heads look okay, they look grumpy, and have a little strap on them. The body print is accurate enough for its time. Again, the new version has a much better print than this version does. But for back then, it looks okay. I mean, it still looks kind of fun and neat. It definitely still reminds me of a Death Star Trooper, but like I said, the new ones are far more accurate to the movie. For real helmet, a better body print and everything. And finally, the last character we have from this set is the Dianoga, the trash compactor monster. In the film you only see this much, just a little head. This creature has appeared in Dark Forces, the game, where you have to go down the sewers and you're blasting a lot of these. And I think it's also in Dark Forces 2 Jedi Knight. I think it's the same creature. It looks a bit different because they moved on to, you know, the 3D era away from Dark Forces 1, which is like a Doom clone, a really good Doom clone. If you haven't played that, you must play that now. You get to fight Dark Troopers, which is like robot stormtroopers, and that's cool. Anyway, this creature, yeah, it's a pretty nice build. It looks fairly accurate to what the actual thing is, because in the games it looks got these tentacles popping out, just like floating like me. The head not so much. Again, these days we have that extra sort of round piece that Lego might use instead of this, so it'll look a bit more accurate to this creature. Even with old sets, if you look at the little doorway set from Jabba the Hutt's palace, there's a doorway set with C-3PO, R2-D2, and they're just standing in front of a tiny door that plugs into the Jabba's palace. That has a little door robot thing, and that's got a little eyepiece that's printed quite nicely, I think. So definitely looks very accurate. This one looks okay, just the head not so much, but the rest of it's okay. So there you have it. That's all the minifigures in this set. That was a lot to go through. There was a lot of rooms. Phew. So what do I think of this set? I absolutely love this set. For a long time, this thing has only just been discontinued recently in 2015 as of recording this, and there are rumors of a 2016 Death Star set that's going to be even bigger. Who knows if that's true or not, but it would sort of make sense since these figures are hugely outdated compared to the figure standard we have now with all the licensed sets. And so it makes sense that LEGO want to, make a new version, just update the figures and update the rooms, make it a bit more accurate, because LEGO are really going for that whole creative vibe of all these module buildings. So maybe they'll have like a equivalent version of the new Death Star that's the same as a module building. We have more details in each room. Who knows? But as the time being, even if a new set comes out, this is still a really good set. It's pretty much the Star Wars dollhouse. You got pretty much all the scenes you can recreate from the Death Star in this set, even though some of the rooms are a bit smaller or downsized from what it originally was in the movies. You can still have a lot of fun just playing around with those rooms. After all, toys, you use your imagination, so even though the rooms are smaller, as long as it looks like the thing and you can have the minifigures walk around it, you can do a lot with it. This is one of the sets with the most minifigures in one go. As an actual set-oriented set, doesn't count, not counting all the chess ones or whatever. But as a normal set, this one has the most minifigures. I think till now there's 24 characters, minifigures in this set, and if you count the other ones, then you have more characters. So yeah, a really impressive amount of minifigures. All of them are kind of outdated, but there's a charm to them. While they don't look as accurate as some of the newer ones, they look good. They remind me of when LEGO Star Wars was first beginning back then. Same as the yellow skin stuff, they have a huge charm to them. Sometimes I'll look at the older sets and I think that looks better than the new one. Yet the new one's more slick and more rounded off and looks more accurate to the actual movie stuff. But the old ones, because they seem a bit more rough, they feel more like someone actually took some Lego pieces that already existed and put them together into something that resembles the thing from the Star Wars movies, instead of making new pieces to make it look a bit more accurate and all that. So yeah, nice figures from this set and a really fun set overall. Like I said to some people sometimes, if you're only ever going to get one LEGO Star Wars set in your entire life and you can afford it, you can afford any set, this is the set to go. You get this set and you can pretty much play with this endless possibilities from this set, and you just play with it so much and you wouldn't need any other LEGO Star Wars sets ever again. If you're only going to get one, this is the set to go for. If you're going to get two, you get this one and I don't know, whatever. Nothing compares to this set. This set is just amazing. This thing's just been recently discontinued, so the prices are going to start going up. So if you want this set, you better hurry and get it now, or else you have to pay double price eventually. If I had the money, I would get a second one of these just as an investment to sort of keep it for a rainy day, just keep it for a few years and sell it then to make a little profit. Not scalping it, because I'm not getting like 10 of these, but this is definitely a set worth investing and both money and time into. Have I praised this set enough yet? I don't think so, but you're gonna be bored, so let's move on. If you've enjoyed this video, please click the like button, the subscribe button there, and of course leave a comment underneath. Which is your favorite Star Wars set, or which is your favorite sort of ultimate guilty pleasure, the biggest set that you ever got? Leave a comment below. If you want to check out other LEGO Star Wars reviews, go click on the hyperlink or whatever annotation on this video, and it'll take you to a playlist. If you want to have a look at bootleg LEGO Star Wars and how they fare compared to the real stuff, you can also check out my channel. I've reviewed quite a few LEGO Star Wars bootleg sets as well. If you really like Star Wars, I've also reviewed quite a lot of the other action figures and vehicle sets, as well as Force FX replica lightsabers of Anakin and Darth Vader, as well as the Darth Vader and Stormtrooper SH figure arts. If you've enjoyed this video and want to support my channel even more, feel free to head over to the Patreon page. But if you haven't enjoyed this video and have some improvements that you think I should do, please suggest them to me. But most importantly, at the end of the day, take care, have a nice day, and of course, may the Force be with you. Bye bye.